Đúng. That's like when you see an officer and the person comes in. Oh. I'm not. Thank you. No, I get Margie Butler over there. Supervisor here. Like, let's do. Well, I mean, daughter of the neighbor. Alice does get everything they're all getting rid of it. So we just started the ballot for everyone. He's like a super sympathy guy. A little narcissism, like super. I came from a community person now. Because the limits raised in the source first day in the county we went to go to just a mean caucus. And I said, well, I'm for sure. I mean, I'm
Thank you for all coming tonight. Thank you all for coming tonight to the regular city council meeting at 140
Clearlake, California, and it's
6 p.m. and have a roll call, please now.
Councilmember Wilson.
Present.
Councilmember Hooten.
Here.
Councilmember Kramer.
Here.
Mayor Slotin.
Here.
And Vice Mayor Downey is absent.
Please stand for the pledge of allegiance. Please leave.
Ready, begin.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please
Remain standing.
a moment of silence for 6 servicemen that lost their lives this week in the Middle East. Thank you. All items on the agenda will be open for public comment before final action is taken. Citizens wishing to introduce written material into the record at the public meeting on any item are requested to provide a copy of the written material to the Administrative Service Director, City Clerk, Madam Swanson, at the end of their prior to the meeting date, so the material may be distributed to the City Council prior to the meeting. Speakers must resist comments to the item as it appears on the agenda and stay within a 3-minute time limit. The mayor has the discretion of limiting the total discussion time of a important item. The council cannot answer questions or provide comment while a citizen is giving their public comments. Once your comments are complete, the mayor may refer you to staff for follow-up. If you're on Zoom, please know that only written comments will be taken via Zoom. Using the Q&A chat feature, please enter your comments in the Q&A section. Mr. Flora, do we have any changes to the agenda?
No modifications, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, can I have a motion?
I'd like to make mayor to like.
Microphone. I'll second it.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to adopt the agenda.
Motion passes with unanimous vote of the council.
We'll continue on to presentations. First one is March for Meals Month. Whereas on March 22nd, 1972, President Richard Nixon signed into law and measured and amended the Older American Act of 1965 and established a national nutrition program for seniors 60 years and older. Whereas the Meals on Wheels Association of America established the National March for Meals campaign in March of 2002 to recognize the historic month, the importance of Older American Act Senior Nutrition Program, and raise awareness about senior hunger in America. Whereas the 2026 observance of the March for Meals campaign provides an opportunity to support senior nutrition programs that deliver vital and critical services by donating, volunteering, and raising awareness about senior hunger. Whereas volunteer drivers for Meals on Wheels program in Clearlake are the backbone of the program, and they not only deliver nutritious meals to homebound seniors and individuals with disability, but also care, concern, and attention to their welfare. And whereas senior nutrition programs provide nutritious meals to seniors throughout the city and help them avoid premature and unnecessarily institutionalization. Whereas seniors nutrition programs also provide a powerful socialization opportunity for millions of seniors to combat loneliness and isolation. Whereas senior nutrition programs in Clearlake deserve recognition for the contributions they have made and will continue to make to our community. Therefore, now the City Council of the City of Clearlake does hereby proclaim March 2026 as March for Meals Month and urges every citizen to take time this month to honor our senior nutrition program, the seniors they serve, and volunteers who care for them. Our recognition and involvement of the National 2026 March for Meals campaign can enrich our entire community and help end senior hunger in America. So no senior goes hungry. Dated the 5th day of March, signed by me. I think we might have some people here that would like to
Yes, we are.
take this.
We thank you very much for the proclamation. It is the March for Meals Month. It's a celebration to celebrate all our Meals on Wheels programs, but it's not just the Meals on Wheels programs. It also includes our congregate dine-in programs. To give you guys a little update on how many we serve a day, we're serving 200 seniors per day. You know, that's our average. So, each one of those meals cost almost $11 per meal for us to make and run our facility. Our donations for meals from our seniors is 27 cents. We do get some funding from Area Agency on Aging, but that really just pays for a small portion of the food. Some misconceptions that the public has is that the city sponsors us. The county sponsors us, the state sponsors us, the federal government sponsors us, and we do get a little bit of funding from the federal government and from the state government to help supplement some of that. It's about a third of what we need. And the city is generous to not charge us too much for our facility and covers our bills, which comes about, I think, about $70,000 a year that you guys donate to us. So we appreciate that because we wouldn't be here at all if you guys did not do that. So we really appreciate what you guys do for us. We have, one of the things is we're averaging about 95 seniors in our home facility. We are probably the largest facility in Lake County. In fact, I know we're the largest facility in Lake County that we serve. And then we serve on an everyday basis at least 145 homebound seniors, And it's not all just about food. We have a pause program to try to help because we found seniors were feeding their food to their animals. They'd rather feed their animals and go hungry themselves. So we do have a pause program, which we're kind of short on funding on that right now. So we're looking for donations of food on that. So anybody that would like to donate a bag of food would be us, and we would really appreciate that. You guys all got a packet today. We have our annual fundraiser coming up, kicking in the spring. Come join us. It's just a fun event that we just have a good time. Great music. It's a lot of fun, and it helps to try to promote and let you guys see what our facility can be. I mean, this is a city building, and we've been taking pictures as we have events to try to promote the rental of that building because, of course, we can rent it and it helps keep that building in good shape. So we take pictures, and this building can be decorated fabulous. Weddings, light up the place. It really can be gorgeous. And we put some really gorgeous pictures online to help promote the building. So hope that's one of the reasons why we're getting a little more rentals there. So, but we really do appreciate what the city does, and we appreciate what our community does. But I kind of want to get some facts out there that we are not fully funded. So this fundraiser is really important for us. So I hope you guys all got a packet, and hope you guys will be sponsors of it. And if anybody would like to be a sponsor, they can go online. You can purchase tickets online at on our website at hsscclearlake.org. And just right on the front page, click buy a ticket and come join us. And so my president talk here, this is Joyce Adams. She's the president of our board, our new president this year.
I'm very proud to be president of the board. I'm very happy to be associated with the Senior Center in Clearlake. We are an amazing organization. I've been active in the Senior Center for probably 10 years now, and I've seen us grow so much. We provide so many services, not just to seniors, but to the entire community. And we really need the support of the community. We ask for it, but I'm just really proud of what we're doing. It's amazing. Thank you for your time.
One other thing I want to say is we do have some new things. One of my things with this year was to be a true wellness center, and we are moving forward with that. We have been lucky enough to get the partnership with California to collaborate with them, and so hopefully that will make this center more community oriented because we'll be able to do all ages. So it's in a process. It takes a long time to get these processes done, but we are in the process of doing that. Hopefully by probably the July 1st, I'm hoping we're going full forward with that. So we're expanding and we're growing, and hopefully we'll be there to help all the community. So
thank you very much.
Thank you guys.
Okay, the next item is proclamation of National Nutrition Month. Whereas food is the substance by which life is sustained, and whereas the type, quality, and amount of food that individuals consume each day plays a vital role in their overall health and physical fitness, and whereas better nutrition is related to improved infant, child, and maternal health, stronger immune systems, safer pregnancy and childbirth, lower risk non-communicable diseases such as diabetes, cardiovascular disease, and longevity. And whereas there is a need for continuing nutrition education and a community-wide effort to enhance healthy eating practices, and whereas the theme of National Nutrition Month 2026 is Discover the Power of Nutrition, the theme focuses on the ability of nutrition to help people and communities flourish. By embracing balanced, culturally diverse, and accessible nutrition, we empower individuals and families across our state to thrive at every stage of life. Therefore, now the City Council of the City of Clearlake does hereby proclaim March 2026 as National Nutrition Month in the City of Clearlake, and encouraging all citizens to join the campaign in an effort to achieve optimum health benefits from the transformative power of food and nutrition that I make today. Thank you. Is there anybody that wants to take this proclamation? And if not, we'll hang it up on that bulletin board here as we are now Blue Zone certified. Very good. Okay, now we move to public comment. I have one from Kathy Plowman. Could you please come to the podium?
Hi, my name is Kathy Plowman, and I'm here to set some things straight. I've been told by some people that I knew what happened down at animal control, and let me inform you, I have no idea what was happening. That does not excuse me from I should have known. I should have reached out my hand. I should have helped those girls. I should have done the right thing. Was busy with my own life, running animals around, get them fixed. That's no excuse. We all should have knew what was going on down there, and we didn't. So I hope Mark gets what he deserves. I hope that Charmaine goes forward. The thing is with the city, those animals deserve a proper shelter down there. I'm getting tired of hearing we don't have the money, we blah, 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 so forth and so on. Find it, do it. Get a grant or somebody that knows what they're doing. There's lots of organizations that would be willing to kick down to have a proper shelter built down there. They deserve it. We've let the animals down. We've let the people of Clearlake down by not going forward, by not doing the right thing and stuff. I've been in rescue for 40 years. I've been trapping for 19. All I do is live all the time for animals. And I want everybody to know, if I had known what was going on down there, I certainly would have come up to the city and said something. Not that it might have done any good, because I'm under the impression that, I don't know if this is true, that there was a walkthrough at least once or twice. Why wasn't, if there was a walkthrough and they seen the conditions that was going on down there, why wasn't put a stop put to it? They should have put a stop to it immediately. Called North Bay, said we're pulling everything, we're taking over the shelter right now. This is done. But I'm not sure, but I'll find out whether there was walkthroughs or not. And if there was, something should have been done. And I'm getting sick and tired of people coming up and telling me I knew what was going on down there. I'm going to tell you one more time, I had no idea that those animals were living in the conditions that they were living in. And this all has to go back on North Bay. I want it to stop now. Somebody's going to get hurt on this. Somebody's going to get seriously hurt. The girls have had comments on cutting off their legs, taking them out in the wilderness and all this kind of stuff. This needs to stop. It needs to stop before somebody gets seriously hurt or killed. Okay? So the rumors need to stop. I did not know what was going on down there. The city should have known more than I know. I run a thrift store. That's it. So I'm done. And stuff. So we need to work together. We need to come together and stop it. Everybody needs to stop stabbing everybody in the back. Let's band together and let's get this done. That's what I'm here to say.
Please refine. Anybody else? Please come up, sir, and introduce yourself.
Hi, my name is Josh Margolis. I was driving around some of the roads today. I've driven around, the roads before, and I noticed that there's huge potholes. There's standing water. It seems unsafe to drive on many of these public roads, and I was wondering what the plan is.
Okay.
We'll refer you to staff. There's a plan in there that you can, I believe, Measure B budget plan is available online.
Does that address the roads consistently, or is that more likely a small percentage of the roads that will be
Probably it's a significant percentage of our roads that we already have improved. As you know, this city doesn't have a whole lot of money. So we're going to do a piecemeal to get it done, but we are moving forward with this.
Thank you.
Do you have an indication of what percentage?
No,
I can expect.
Mrs. Lawyer.
This is public comment period, so you can make your comments. It's not back and forth discussion.
Okay.
But you're welcome to come into City Hall, and we're happy to talk to you about the plans that we do have for your specific street.
Okay.
Anybody else? Public comment? But hold on one at a time.
I wanted to say that when I walked into City Hall today, earlier came by, I love what you guys had out there on the window, the statistics and everything. That was so much education to me like that. So good job on that, you know. So I mean, you guys get cut down all the time, but let me tell you what, you guys are doing a fabulous job. You know, nothing happens instantly. And, you know, I sat there for 20 years and it's, you know, you're beat up all the time, but you guys are doing a fabulous job. Very proud of all of you. But I'm really proud that the city's got that kind of stuff out there. Because, I mean, I walked in and I instantly knew that everything was getting better by looking at that. So thank you for putting that on the wall.
Margaret, you want to, your turn.
Good evening, Margaret Garcia, City of Clearlake. I happen to be planning to come up here and to bring up the same topic as the gentleman just came up. Is that there, and I've come up here many a time on that topic. There are an extreme amount of potholes, and these are not potholes that are on some 8-year plan or 5-year plan. These are potholes that have been filled, if you want to call it like that, maybe within the last 9 months, maybe a year. They're not done very thoroughly, very well. They don't last but a couple of months, seriously. In addition to potholes that have not been dealt with for a long time. Regarding funding, you know, why it is that there's like a 5-mile beautifully paved portion of, I guess it's country club that goes to Highway 20. You know, there seems to be funding for certain things, and I don't know where those decisions get made on what gets done, what doesn't. But I think maybe you might want to spread the wealth as far as doing long stretches of highway versus doing some maintenance that needs to be done, especially around City Hall, the park, which I brought up before. None of that is getting addressed. And I know my particular street's on an 8-year plan, but I think those plans maybe need to be revamped and maybe revisited. Because you ought to do just what this guy did, drive around the roads around here. And the potholes that have popped up are like, you know, I don't know, 9 inches. They're huge. So I would hope that in the next, you know, the near future, that is looked at, and maybe when repairs are getting done out there on the asphalt, a more thorough job is done so that they last. The repairs last. And they did one in front of my house, and they're not putting a lot of focus on the longevity of that patch. So that's my comment. I think you ought to take a drive around town, and not maybe just from here to your house. But I appreciate your time, and I appreciate all the departments, police department, public works, code enforcement, everybody I appreciate. But I don't appreciate the road conditions. So I hope everyone's doing well. Thank you.
Please refrain. Okay, as you know, the council cannot answer questions or provide comments on public comments at this section. But is there any more in the audience that wants to come out? If not, do we have any more comments on Zoom, Madam Clerk?
There are no comments on the Zoom, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, we move on to the consent calendar. Anybody wants to pull an item, or anybody from the public wants to address one of those items that are in the consent calendar? If not, can I have a motion? Okay, can I have a second?
I'll second it.
I have a motion and a second, Madam Clerk. Oh, try to get in there. We go.
Motion passes with unanimous vote of the council.
All right, we go now to our first item of business, which is considering updates from PG&E.
Yeah, I'd like to introduce Jason Terramino, who's local government affairs representative with Pacific Gas and Electric, and he requested to come and give the council an update on some things that PG&E are doing. So, here, why don't you take this? I'll get your presentation up here.
Thank you very much. Pleasure to be here. My name is Jason Taramino, and I'm your local government affairs person. I cover Lake County and Sonoma County and all the local governments. And as most of you know, my job is to be what we often call the primary contact. So that you have somebody to call who can get you to the right person, get answers for you. Sometimes I have them, sometimes I don't, but I usually find the right person. And then I also reach out to people prior to storm events or any sort of events that are coming up. I would also like to say that I have another colleague from PG&E who's our public safety specialist, and that's the person that organizes with the police department and fire department in all emergency situations. So we have two people, one sort of for the elected officials and staff members, and one specifically dedicated to emergencies. And I wanted to come here today to do this at least once a year, but I think it's important for a utility company anywhere in America to be accessible to people. We're granted this franchise for each unique area, and it's important that I think that people have an opportunity for us to be on the agenda and to come and speak, and for the elected representatives to ask us questions. And there we go. So I'll breeze through some of these slides because I really want to get to the moment where we can have some conversations and answer some questions. But I wanted to come today to talk about our resiliency as a system, affordability, our energy mix, and our advocacy priorities for this year. So first and foremost, I want to talk about undergrounding. So we've completed about 67 miles of undergrounding. We believe that in high fire threat districts, while this is expensive, it's about $3 million a mile. Over a 50-year period, we actually think that's a good investment and saves money. But it also, dramatically decreases fire risk. We estimate by 98%. The other thing that we're doing in Lake County is we're doing overhead hardening. What this you'll see it around metal poles, and then rather than having bare wires, they're insulated, like an extension cord to a certain degree, but a bit more robust. That reduces wildfire risk ignitions by about 78%. So two things we've done a lot of in Lake County and we'll continue to do more of.
Jason?
Yes.
Please. How much of that, if any, of that undergrounding is in Lake County?
Okay, let me go back here real quick here. So we've completed 67 miles in Lake County. Yeah. We forecast 19 miles for this year. And then estimated for 2027 is 16. And there'll be an ask later about this because we're looking for support for more miles of undergrounding and more miles of overhead hardening.
And these are high tension lines or what?
This is almost exclusively distribution lines. So when we think about the big towers, that's our transmission. We're talking about distribution lines here, the ones that are running through the forest, running through your towns, et cetera. And then I should probably mention, we don't, so we'll have a circuit that might be 150 miles long. We'll do a mile here and a mile there based on computer modeling where it is not only a high risk of ignition, but if that ignition starts, where would that fire spread to based upon winds, et cetera. So it's quite scientific, and we don't get to influence it. It's the computer model that tells us where it's going to happen. And then 79 miles of overhead hardening have already occurred in Lake County. So Lake County is a lot more than Sonoma County. And certainly when we think about the Central Valley where we don't have high fire threat districts, we don't really do any of it there. So everybody, including PG&E and other utilities, realize that the cost of electricity is quite high and it affects people's pocketbook in a significant way. So as of 3 days ago, we have reduced the cost of electricity for our customers by 11% over the last year and a half or so. However, we just announced that we've reduced it
now 3% more. And we're doing all of that through operational savings. And then the next thing that affects our bill is public purpose programs. So these are all the programs that help pay for people who are underprivileged. All the programs about energy efficiency. Almost all of these programs are dreamed up by the legislature and then put into practice with the utilities via the Public Utilities Commission. So depending on how you slice the pie up, that is about 30 to 40% of the bills that we pay. And I'd like to point out that's our after-tax dollars versus the legislature paying for all those programs with our tax dollars from the general fund. So it's a big percentage of the bills that we pay. And one of the reasons I'm here tonight is just to make people aware of that as we move forward together to try and lower prices for electricity, that is something to be aware of, that it's a lever to pull. And when I talk about these programs, I want to make sure to say that we as a company value these programs because they're quite helpful. So we have programs like CARE and FERA, which help people who are underprivileged, seniors, families, etc. So they make a big difference in people's lives. And then we have all sorts of programs for energy efficiency. That includes going into people's homes and upgrading insulation, appliances, electrification. Great programs that help people lead better lives, but they do cost a nickel. And then we have programs for people who have medical issues. In Lake County, I think one of the important things to understand is because there are public safety power shutoffs that occur, there are storms that happen and knock out people's power. We have many programs to help people with generators, with battery backup systems, etc., so that their medical conditions when the power goes out are met. The next thing is I want to talk about sort of the state of PG&E and where the electricity that we provide to our customers. And I want to make one caveat. This is the electricity that we provide to our customers, not necessarily for the community choice aggregation companies who have their own customers. This is just people who have signed up for PG&E power. So we have been 95% greenhouse gas free for the last 5 years, often at different times 100% greenhouse gas free. And I wanted to explain how that breaks down. So 50% of all the electricity we supply to our customers comes from Diablo Canyon Nuclear Power Plant, which is 100% greenhouse gas free electricity. So we're operating the last nuclear power plant in California. And spoiler alert, I'm asking for your help to keep that open because it's such a valuable resource for us. And then the remainder of the electricity breaks down mainly with wind, solar, hydro, biomass, and geothermal. And then the last 5% is actually natural gas. So on a world standard, we're top of the tops as far as greenhouse gas free electricity, which I think most people find to be surprising.
Biomass is gas free? You burn biomass?
No, the biomass is producing electricity by spinning turbines because it is decomposing, if that makes sense.
Okay, you're not burning?
No. Okay. So as far as advocacy, what I'm really here to ask you for is support on undergrounding. What we want to do is have a 10-year program rather than going from year to year. And we're looking for city councils to write letters of support or individual council members to write letters of support that they value undergrounding. That's number one. And then we have three other things. I'll start on the right. Affordability. Electricity is very expensive, and we think there's lots of ways to significantly reduce the cost of electricity, but we believe it has to be done with our local elected representatives.
We think it's much more powerful. These are complicated issues, and when you all chime in with your state electeds, I think it makes a big difference. The second thing is Diablo Canyon Nuclear Power Plant. We are looking for support to keep that open. We've just gotten a reprieve for 5 more years, but it produces more than 9% of all the greenhouse gas-free electricity in California. Let me say that again, that's right. More than 9% of all electricity in California, and it's a significant contributor to greenhouse gas-free electricity. And lastly, probably the most important issue for utilities in California right now is what's called the California Wild Fund 2.0. So last year, the state legislature passed a $20 billion bill, and this year they're going to work out the details. What this bill does is it ostensibly is an insurance program for utilities. But what that really means is if utilities cause wildfires like Palisades, like the Camp Fire, Kincaid, et cetera, that the homeowners who lose their homes will have an insurance backstop. I think most of us know that the insurance system in California could be improved dramatically. And this is very important for the utility companies to be financially stable for the future, but really it's important for our citizens who are affected by wildfire. That's it for my presentation.
I have one question. How much is my bill for generation of power and how much is it for distribution?
Okay, let me answer that in a not specific for PG&E, but just in general for utilities in America. And so what I've read is it's usually about 70% for maintenance of the system for the grid. So for example, PG&E has more than 100,000 miles of wires. So it's the wires, the substations, all that's about 70%. And then the generation of electricity is about 30%. And that's utility system wide in the US, probably for the world.
So, you mentioned that you are here for support for the Diablo power plant and the undergrounding. Why do you need support? Why is there a lack of support from who? And
okay, thank you very much for that question. So, big picture, not just PG&E, but utility companies in general don't set their own rates. They don't make all their decisions. They're awarded a franchise, and because they're awarded a franchise, a specific area, they have to work with the government to set the rates, determine all the work that they're going to do, where the power is going to come from, absolutely everything. It's a conversation. And then most of the time that is implemented through the Public Utilities Commission, which also has a say in how everything's going. So your question is, why would we come to you and say, we need your help? I would say it's more, we need your voice to express your values. Do you value nuclear power or you don't, or not? I personally do, but if you don't, speak up and say so. But the issues are complicated. I know I've worked for PG&E for 2 years, and I feel like what I have learned in the last 2 years is monumental to what I knew when I came. And I think that our state legislatures arrived there and they're just starting to learn. And so it's important that the most local representatives are you all, and to speak up for the people that you serve makes a big difference. Because I think I'm surprised at how little our state representatives know about the utility system. And so if there's more voices involved, we'll get to that answer in a democratic way that will serve us all.
thank you.
Yep.
What do you think their concern is with nuclear power? Safety or?
I think that doing a lot of research and talking to a lot of people, there's this belief that nuclear bombs are bad. Yes, we would all agree with that. Nuclear medicine is what we pray for when our children have cancer. And where is nuclear power in this? I think in the 70s, people thought, oh gosh, nuclear power must be terrible. But when you start to do the research and you read a few books about it, you realize, wow, there's very few people who've been killed by nuclear power. And it creates an incredible amount of energy. It's probably the safest form of energy that we have. And in the last 20 years, we've built 2 nuclear power plants in Georgia in the US. China's built 60. It is just incredibly important. There's a book, I will send you all a list of books that I've read. John Doerr, who's a venture capitalist, wrote a book called Speed and Scale. And Bill Gates writes a chapter in there, and it's his opinion that if we don't get half of our electricity needs, our future electricity needs from nuclear energy, we'll never hit our greenhouse gas goals. So there's a lot of people out there who've been doing a lot of deep thinking about nuclear power, its safety, and its effect on our future world, who believe it's critically important.
Okay, going back to that chart, then 95% was of the power. You said 50% of it was actual nuclear and 45% were those other things, with the exception of gas.
Correct.
Oh, yeah, I guess you need to do a better job of selling that nuclear power is safe.
Yes, we do.
Any more comments from the?
I guess, just following up with the second half about the undergrounding.
Yes.
So do you guys not have, there's people that oppose it? Is it just because of the cost, or?
I think there's 2 things going on there. We in Lake County and Sonoma County, the other county I represent, really feel the dangers of catastrophic wildfire. In Lodi, not so much. In the Central Valley, not so much. They've got other issues. So there's some people who value it and some people don't because of the safety issue. It is expensive, but the other thing is when we underground, it gets immediately tacked onto everybody's bill. If we have a 10-year program for that, we can capitalize it. We can plan for 10 years, and then we can spread that cost. We can amortize that cost over a much longer time period. So it's financially beneficial.
Oh, hold on. I've got a follow up too.
Thank you.
You own Diablo?
Yes.
Okay. Do you own any? I know you don't own one up on Pillsbury anymore, or don't want to, but do you actually own any of those other 45% of the power that's created for you? Or
So
are you buying it from outside?
Yeah, so PG&E owns a lot of hydropower, including the Pillsbury.
Although it's shut down.
Yeah, it's not producing right now. So we own a lot of hydro. We own Diablo Canyon. And then your question is, what other power generating facilities
Do
that
you
we
actually own as opposed to buying from other producers?
I'm sure we do own some, but not like we used to. There was a law a decade ago or 2 decades ago that really changed the market. Utilities used to own all the power generation, and they changed that. They thought it would be more competitive if other outside companies owned the power generation, and the utility companies were more in the business of distributing the power.
Okay.
Great.
Anybody on from the public has a question?
Thank you very much.
Anybody on Zoom, Madam Clerk?
There are no comments on the Zoom, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you very much for having me.
Thanks, Jason.
All right, go to item number 7. Alan, Mr. Flora, could you give us an update on item number 7, update on the Robin Lane sewer spill emergency? I see you brought some pieces of equipment there.
Well, they've been in here for a little while. I didn't bring them in for tonight, but thank you, Mr. Mayor, council members. So just to provide a little bit of an update on the status, as I think you know, the focus for us the last couple of weeks has been receiving and installing the pre-filtration and UV systems. As of today, the contractors have picked up 60 of those 100 systems that we have delivered. 36 of them have been installed. And so the installation happens, and then there's 2 tests that happen to verify that the water is clean and safe coming out of the system. 13 of the parcels have been cleared based on those tests. Or no, 14. So, you know, it's coming along, not quite as fast as we would like, and I'm sure some folks out there would agree, but we are making progress. We did put our final order in for some additional systems that were requested. And I guess that's really all about that, unless there's any questions. I did talk to the hydrologist again today. She's continuing to analyze the testing results that we're getting, although our testing protocol is focused more on around system installation and clearing the systems as soon as possible, rather than kind of the sort of blanket testing that we had been doing for the last month or so. But she is going to be preparing some final technical report on the findings and conclusions around this. But we feel like we are sort of nearing the end of the emergency part of this incident. So with that update, I'd be happy to address any questions.
Any questions? Just one. Those tests, the last 2 tests, are those folks that get the system going to get copies of those test results?
Yes, you can get copies of any of the test results you have, or well, I think it's been explained a number of times. The copies of test results that people expect is not what you would really anticipate. But when the test results are cleared, you will be getting a packet of information from environmental health that includes a number of things, including the test results, some tips on maintaining your well, maintaining a tank if you have one, information about the system that you received, and so forth.
Okay. All right. Anybody else? Anybody from the public wants to?
Hello, Council. My name is Adam Duvall. My question is about last week. I came here and I asked about the discrepancy in the numbers, and I was told that it wasn't the fault of the city council. Obviously, it was the fault of the water company. So my question is, will the city council, in light of this, review the memorandum of understanding, which doesn't have any consequences for false reporting of data, and try to implement something that has a little bit more teeth? So if they false report, or if they spill 3 million gallons of sewage in the city, that there would be consequences on the city's end, or on the county's end, and that would the city push for something more than a memorandum of understanding?
I don't have this before. Maybe you can explain. I don't think there's any.
Well, I think if the gentleman can finish any questions or comments he has, then he can respond.
Anybody, any other?
No, please, yeah, give the. All right, sorry, what were you gonna say?
I said, I don't think there's any memorandum of understanding between the city
and the Highlands Water Company?
It's not Highlands Water Company. It's
not a water sewer district.
It's a special district.
The special district.
Yes, that has to do with the sewer spill.
And there's no understanding between them, between you and them? Or is there?
There's no MOU between the city and the special district, is my understanding. Is that correct?
Okay, well, our normal decorum is not to have a conversation back and forth here. This is your time to ask questions or make comments, and then you can direct a response. But I mean, you're the mayor, so you tell us what you want to do.
What is wrong? What is wrong with what is wrong in the process that we're doing? I'm just curious so we can get it right.
As far as I know, there's no memorandum of understanding between the special district who caused the sewer spill and the city.
Yeah. So now, can we hear from him?
Is that correct, Mr. Laura?
There's no consequence?
No memorandum of understanding.
Oh, yeah, I don't know about any memorandum of understanding. I'm just trying to keep some normal decorum here and where, as a member of the public, you have 3 minutes to come up and address the council and ask questions or make comments. Then you sit down and the city council will direct staff to answer the questions or follow up.
Oh, only
That's
after
what
I
I'm
sit
trying
sitting
to,
down.
help with.
Thank
Okay.
you.
Thank
So, I mean, if you want me to address, consequences related to this, I mean, the city has no real regulatory authority over the sewer system or Lake County special districts, with the exception of, pretty much all of the, collection system resides in the county's right of way, which we do have authority over. But Lake County special districts, the sanitation district is regulated, primarily by the Lake County or the State Water Resources Control Board. So of course, we have some correspondence with them, have shared some concerns that we have with them, and we'll continue to follow up with their inspection, enforcement, and oversight process. There are some other regulatory agencies for certain parts of the system. For example, the Lake County Air Quality Control District regulates some parts of the system. In fact, I've invited the director of the Air Quality District to come to our next council meeting to talk about some of those issues. But unfortunately, the main thing that the city can do is advocate for other regulatory agencies to take the issues seriously and ask for their efforts to bring the system into compliance.
Thank you. Any other comments?
My name's Josh Margolis. I think you were telling us that that the 100 UV filtration systems have been ordered. A small percentage of those have been installed successfully. There's more that are on order. I'd like to know what that number is. I'd also like to know how many, I think last time you said there were 164 affected residents or affected, I guess, properties. I'd like to know what percentage of those have been, or I guess have applied for a filtration system. And then for the remainder, what are the efforts to ensure those people are taken care of?
Laura, can you repeat the numbers that you said earlier?
Yeah, so we initially ordered 100 of the units. 60 of them have been picked up and designated to one of the contractors to install. 36 have been installed as of today. I don't know the percentages, but I think you could figure those out. So based on, we aren't forcing people to have one of the systems. They were requested to submit application. We helped them with that. So based on additional applications, we ordered another 15 units. That's a total of 115. Our estimate originally was 164 impacted wells. But some people have various situations where they have another sanitization system already, or for one reason or another, did not want to have one. But if folks were getting water deliveries to a tank or something like this and had not applied, the city reached out to all of those individuals to make sure that they had one last chance to apply and get a system if they would like to have one. So, but at this point, the request for systems is complete. We're not planning on ordering any more systems. We'll be making sure the 115 systems get installed. And then that will be it.
Okay, thank you. Any other comments in the room here? If not, is there anybody on Zoom, Madam Clerk?
There are no comments on the Zoom.
Thank you. there's no action item on this thing. We go to item number 8, discussion and consideration of community-funded projects request for fiscal year 2027. Mr. Flora.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, council members. So it is that time of the year again, where we have the opportunity to ask our congressman for any appropriation requests. They call it the Community Funded Projects Program. Congressman Thompson then gets to select a number of projects in his district to submit to the House of Representatives for inclusion in this next year's budget bill. So I outlined in the staff report the requests that the council made last year. The timeline on this, although it always seems short, there hasn't been quite as much guidance. It's always kind of a guessing game on what perhaps both parties would agree to move through the budget process. So open to whatever ideas the council may have around this. I came up with 3 possible ideas to consider. One is some funding for the airport redevelopment project infrastructure there. I would recommend an ask of 5.2 million for that. Option number 2, and you can include one or all of these options or additional ones as well. You know, we've tried a number of times to acquire funding for the Highlands Park renovation project. We had the plans done for a few years and have not been able to get funding for that. I would recommend an ask around 3.7 million for that. And then more related to the sewer spill, I think one thing we've learned is that we don't know enough about the aquifer out there, and because all these folks are on private wells and have primarily private septic systems, there's still concerns about kind of what the baseline conditions out there were before the spill happened. The testing that continues in the aquifer, you know, everything's not clear, and there's issues in the surface water, and it's near the sewer treatment plant. And is the groundwater, surface water being influenced somehow by the sewer treatment plant or other factors? And I think that we should, for the benefit of the folks who live in that area, request some funding to be able to do some aquifer analysis, some long-term testing in the area, a monitoring program of that testing, perhaps a well evaluation. There's just a lot of poorly constructed wells as well. It would be helpful to have some more detailed information about that, and possibly even asking for funding to put a couple of long-term monitoring wells out in that area. And so I talked to the hydrologist about this, and I think an ask somewhere around 280,000 would be appropriate. But those are the ideas I came up with, but happy to discuss any other ones.
Any of the council has some ideas you want to include?
I like those 3 ideas.
Go ahead.
Oh, I also like the 3 ideas and really favor Highlands Park and the hydrologist suggestion of getting some monitoring wells and figuring out really a better idea and understanding of what we have over there for a water source. Those are my sentiments as well.
I all agree with those, and I think I mentioned it that the east side on Highway 53 has no park, and since Chelsea is going to build some apartment complexes on the east side of Dam Road Extension, there's a property that would be owned by the state that a small park could be installed in that too, and some funding.
Yeah. So I guess we can talk about this a little bit as a project idea. I think there's some interest in the state relinquishing that excess property to the city. Actually, I had a conversation just yesterday with the Department of General Services about that in Senator McGuire's office. It will require legislation to make that transfer happen. I believe Senator McGuire is interested and willing in doing that. I told him he didn't have a lot of time to get that done this year, so. But anyway, I think, you know, we are working on that. I mean, I think there's time to ask for funding for a few improvements at the point that we get the property. And I would even like to ask Senator McGuire if he's going to sponsor some legislation for the transfer, that maybe a little bit of funding can be added in there as well.
That would be awesome. All right. See, what do you, excuse me, go ahead. What do you think is most, Senator or Congressman Thompson is most likely to award a higher amount, or?
I think it's really difficult to do that. That's why I always recommend giving him a few options at different levels.
Yeah.
You know, we submitted a number of options last year, and, you know, there's always the political climate too between the two parties and what's going to make it through. And you'll recall that we actually submitted a request for 350,000 for public safety cameras and wildfire detection technology related to those cameras. For whatever reason, they weren't interested in the fire part of it, so they asked us to rewrite it just for public safety cameras. And that ended up getting funded, but that was the smaller ask. So, you know, I don't know what the winning strategy is for sure, but I like giving him some options. And of course, the congressman has very consistently, not every year, but you know, since I've been city manager, we've gotten 3, I think, earmarked requests or community funded projects.
I guess I have a personal interest in the Burns Valley thing, but Highlands Park is something that, as you said, we actually had some money set aside for a number of years ago that I think ended up getting used at Austin's Park. So it'd be nice to get that going again. Okay. Time for public. Go ahead.
Go.
Anybody from the public wants to comment? Please come to the podium. State your name.
Joyce Overton, City of Clearlake. I mean, not that I don't love all these ideas, but one of the things for, I know at least 20 years has been the talk about, we talk about these parks and stuff, but over in the avenues, you know, we were talking about a community park for years over there. And I know there was issues of bathrooms and everything, but a community park does not have to have bathrooms because it's supposed to be just for the people that live in the area. I really wish you guys would start looking at some projects like that over there. You know, it's been talked about and talked about and talked about, but nothing's ever moved forward on that. So maybe not necessarily. I mean, I would hope that this might be something that we could at least look at, but I would like to see sometimes when we ask for this money to, you know, start looking at maybe that as a project over there. It would be a lesser project expense, you know, because like I said, you don't have to put in bathrooms when it's a community one. Just have to make it an area where the kids can go and play and have a good time. But we've talked about it for so many years that I'd like to really start getting that back on the radar here. So that might be a project maybe you could find some money for. So thank you.
What thought maybe you were going to ask? I mean, I think that was your suggestion, was the property there on 18th Avenue would help fill that needs.
Right. Okay, anybody else for public comment? Come to the podium and state your name.
Margaret Garcia, City of Clearlake. Joyce's comment on the avenues having a park is, I mean, really, really something that's been needed for a long time. It seems like anything that is planned for the City of Clearlake is planned for beneath the highway area. And the avenues seem to be neglected in many ways. And I think it would be, it would go a long way as far as showing some focus and some care to that area of the city. After the whole fire that happened up there, it seems like just property just got fenced off and various changes, but it would be a good gesture for sure to have something like that happen. And if I'm not sure what Highlands Park, what is Highlands Park? Which park is that? If you could just clarify real quick.
It's on Lakeshore. It's where the Chamber of Commerce office is.
Okay, because what my thought is the only access to water to the lake for kids, for families, is Austin Park, right? Austin Beach. And that area is still very uninviting as far as sand and just the entire, look of it. It's not the most family friendly. I don't know how many tables or things you've got, but I would think that maybe some focus there, if you're going to be requesting funds, maybe something like that wouldn't be a bad idea to really improve that, because that's the only access people have to the lake as far as beach access. Another thing, let's see, I wrote down was the water quality. I don't know if you could package that in such a way where money could be requested on that, whether it be some type of maybe a more I don't know, maybe a little more invested in the filtration or that kind of thing, as far as it's been discussed before. Is they've got the little sprayers that go around, but if there could be money asked for about that, that would be, I think, a good thing to do. And then just in general, beautification of the city would be nice if there was some landscape changes too, especially with the entrance when you come into the city. The signs are great, but something that would be a little more of an upgrade to the city of Clearlake and to the visual of the city of Clearlake. I love the city of Clearlake, and I'd like to see a little more done in that regard. Thank you.
Anybody else, public? If not,
My name is Josh Margolis. I was wondering about I think 5-something million that you suggested for an airport, for improvements to that. I don't know who that benefits, if that benefits the community at large, or if that benefits certain businesses. And then also wondering if I think 280,000 that you're suggesting for creating more wells and doing more testing, if the existing wells could just be used and perhaps contracts with the people who have been affected, that we just continue to monitor those wells on a regular basis rather than digging additional wells.
thank you. Anybody else here in the chamber? If not, is there anybody on Zoom, Madam Clerk?
There are no comments on the Zoom.
All right. Council will need to give directions to staff on this item. We need a motion for this. We do.
I don't know that you really have to. I mean, I think
Give
it
big
would be
directions.
great if you want to make a motion to approve the recommendations or something different, but
I think that you had 3 suggestions. I want to add the park on Old Them Road. I think that'd be a good spot for it.
I'm not sure it's appropriate to do when we don't own the property, but
At least maybe we can.
If you were gonna talk about the avenues in the park, you could look down at the village in Highlands Park area that also could use a park, a neighborhood park. So, I don't think we're a little premature on that. I like the idea of having neighborhood parks, however. I'm sorry.
I think we'll just go ahead with the suggestions. Excuse me, ma'am, if you have something to say, you have to come to the podium. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
I was saying that I think we should be looking at, I like the idea of neighborhood parks. The avenues is not the only place where a neighborhood park could fit. The Lakeshore Village, Highlands Park area, residential area would also be something that I would consider for a neighborhood park. That's what I said.
Yeah. I think you have directions. Do you agree?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Item number 9, consideration of a resolution calling for a ballot measure to change the city treasurer position from elected to appointed. I believe this is Madam City Clerk presentation.
Yeah, Honorable Mayor and council members, You have before you tonight consideration of a ballot measure to transition the city treasurer position from appointed to elected. While we were prepared to move forward with this report tonight, after speaking with the registrar of voters, staff recommends postponing this item to June to coincide with the request for consolidation of the November election to include 2 council seats to avoid multiple election consolidation requests. So at this time, unless the council would like to move forward, staff is recommending postponing this item to June.
Council agree with that?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
Go to reports. Go ahead. Is there any from the public that wants to comment on? If not, anybody on Zoom, Madam Clerk?
There's no comments on the Zoom.
Okay, we'll go to reports. Mr. City Manager.
I'll be fairly brief, just a few things. I went to the Board of Supervisors meeting this week to talk about some issues related with withholding of our property tax. Was a frustrating experience. I'm not sure actually what the solution is at this point, but I just want to make sure that you all were aware of it, and providing some follow-up to try and see where we are with the county auditor around it. But there were a number of other local agencies that were also there in attendance, expressing concern about county withholding of our agency's property tax. I attended the tribal health ribbon cutting yesterday. Councilmember Kramer and Councilmember Wilson were there, so thanks. They always do a great job. Beautiful new building that will be opening up shortly. Last thing I wanted to mention, I was working with the Latino Advisory Council. The thing that we're focusing primarily on now is trying to establish some assistance around Latino entrepreneurs and food service. There's a lot of the Hispanic community that is making food out of their homes and as street vendors and various things, the majority of which is not permitted either by the city or environmental health. And so rather than taking an enforcement approach, we're working on a plan to provide checklists and help simplify the process, and planning to do a workshop with a number of Latino ambassadors to try to get a lot of the folks that are out there doing this to come and figure out how we can help them come into compliance. So something that I think a number of, well, everyone on the Latino Advisory Council and a number of others in the Latino community are pretty excited about this. That's me.
Hey, Councilwoman Hooten, you got it?
I do not have anything to report.
Okay. Councilwoman Wilson.
I was today was the first time that I was able to represent the city of Clearlake at the continuum of care. And was able to vote. I'm part of the executive committee is what I wanted to say. I attended the meeting today. It was announced that there $6.3 million was awarded to expand the Hope Center. That's going to give them 29 additional beds, but Restoration House is going to move over to Hope Center. So it's going to add 17 beds into the county. There was a little bit of discussion about an RFP that's going to open on Monday for some other, for some interim housing. There was also discussion of the fact that it's very probable that Hobbiton Haven in Lakeport is going to have to close because of funding problems. It will be, but they will be open until the end of June. And there is 612,000 $612,000 will be used to try to address the needs that are going to be unmet by closing Hamilton Haven. And there was a considerable, very professional presentation done by the Lived Experience Committee, who will be working with the continuum of care to run another event like they had last year in October in Lakeport. And it will gather more information from the city. There's about, there's 2 beds open at the Nest, 2 open at Hope Center, and 2 at Hamilton Haven. That's it.
Councilman Kramer, you have any?
Yes. In addition to attending the ribbon cutting, which City Manager Flora made some nice remarks. Thank you for that. At a Risk Reduction Authority meeting last week, board meeting, in which I ended up chairing because everybody above me didn't show up. We're in various places. Anyhow, they have been getting more and more involved with fire resiliency projects, along with RCD, and they will, none were in the Clearlake area, I don't believe. And we also talked about how they having to reach out for membership dues again, so you'll probably expect something in the mail on that. And then I also last week, clerk had their board meeting, and we discussed the budget for the coming year, which is somewhere in the neighborhood of $8 million. Clerk is growing substantially. They've got a number of projects going, several of which are planned for Clearlake. And also the east side plan out off of Davis Street Road, or Davis Street, excuse me, is in planning. I actually got a call from, in addition to clerk, I got a call from a representative with CAL FIRE wanting to access my family's property's end of it to start doing the biological or the archaeological inspection, to do the archaeological inspection. Thank you, Margaret, for reminding me. That was about it. Okay, I have a couple of things. I attended the Lake County Recreation Agency, and we did a lot of talk about trails up on Mount Conocti. Some progress is being made up there, so that's pretty exciting. Let's see what else I had. I did have a house that we own go through the rental inspection process. Very smooth. And I'm excited that I'm one of the first ones to go through that. I was a big advocate for that for a long time, going back at least 6-7 years. So that's it. Anybody has any future agenda items? Not?
I'd like to say thank you for leading by example.
We'll now adjourn to closed session. Thank you all for coming.